I'm Tom Fisher. I'm the town manager for the town of Frisco, and I'm going to catch you up on what happened at the council's last meeting. First of all, we had the school district come speak to us, the school superintendent and a board member and their financial officer came to talk to the council about the bond issue for the school district that's on the ballot this year. I'm not going to go into the details of that because that's the school district's responsibility, but the council did ask some good questions, and it was just another opportunity for the public to, especially the public in Frisco, to hear about that issue that they're now voting on as their ballots are in their homes. The second issue on work session was a property owner in town that's adjacent to one of our undeveloped right-of-ways or road right-of-ways. Has proposed a project on his property that would require the council to vacate the right-of-way or turn over the right-of-way to the adjacent property owners so that it would make the proposer's property a little bigger so that they could fit some workforce units on their property. It's a intriguing concept. The council's excited about it. We've been talking about it for about 2 or 3 years. There were some changes to code and zoning that needed to happen in order to facilitate this possibility. So the council will be taking that up in a closed session since it has to do with property acquisition at their next meeting to give some direction to staff and the homeowner as that project progresses. The last thing that the council did in work session is talk about their comprehensive plan. They had their planning commission with them for that portion of the work session, and the consultants that the town hired to help staff with the comprehensive plan went through a whole list of things that they needed feedback from both the planning commission and the council in order to get to a final draft of that plan. And so some of the things that are highlighted in that are the importance of Summit Boulevard or Highway 9 as a commercial and industrial corridor. What does that mean for the future as we want to see that area redevelop, perhaps be more dense with some housing mixed in with it, those types of concepts. They also emphasize supporting local commerce. Obviously for Frisco, that means Main Street and the full length of Main Street, as well as Summit Boulevard. Those are the kind of the economic lifeblood of Frisco. So they highlighted the importance of that. They also highlighted that they didn't want to lose services within Frisco. Obviously everything gets more expensive every year, and rents is one of those. And so the more that we can provide programs and policies that help businesses stay open and stay viable in Frisco, it's a good thing. On their regular business, we did hear from a resident in Frisco about their needs around affordable housing, and that supports what their first business item was for the council, and that's approving the strategic housing plan for Frisco. First one that Frisco has done. It was kind of an outgrowth of the county's effort to do a county-wide housing plan. As well, it's also required by state law now that as part of our comprehensive plan that we have a housing element. And so we did that in anticipation of that state law taking place so that we'd be immediately compliant and available to apply for grants and other types of monies that the state has to help our housing program. The bottom line for that needs assessment is that the town, according to this strategic plan, needs to produce about 329 units over the next 10 years. And those are deed restricted units to support the workforce and any business development that we have going on over that 10-year period. So there's a lot of detail within that plan about how we're going to achieve that. One of the big things or highlights of that is that we're going to really target some of our housing funds that are dedicated towards this problem, towards the existing housing stock, and try and preserve as much of that for workforce in the future. The other thing that the council did in their business meeting was to solidify a new ordinance around relaxing some rules and giving some flexibility to HOAs and businesses around screening and recycling bins and trash services that they have to provide. It's in relation to our universal recycling ordinance that required upgrade of those facilities. And so we were getting some feedback from our HOAs that those were going to be very onerous for them. So it provides some flexibility about how to provide those things in the future. The last big thing, and I know this is more exciting probably for me than it is for anybody else, but the 2025 budget and capital plan were approved on second reading. So now we have a budget for the next year. Big picture, our reserves and our revenues for 2025 equal about $90 million. We're projected to expend about $54 million between our general fund operations and capital in different funds. So we still have a very healthy fund balance that we'll end up with at the end of 2025, which makes me very comfortable to say that Frisco is in a very good fiscal position as it goes through the new year and through next year. As always, you can find us at friscogov.com. You can also talk to the council every 2 weeks on the second and fourth Tuesday of the month at their regular meeting at 7 p.m. is when the public comment period is, or you can write our council at council@townoffrisco.com.